Hi, my name is McKenna Kua, and today I will be presenting you with my research on Alexius Comnenus I. Alexius was an emperor of the Byzantine Empire who helped save it from the threat of destruction and collapse during the Middle Ages. He is also widely known for his influence in helping laying down the foundation of the Crusades, a series of religious wars that were fought between the Christians and Muslims. Alexius Comnenus I was born in the year 1057 in Constantinople in the Byzantine Empire, which is in the area now known as modern Istanbul in Turkey. He was born into a very wealthy family. He was the third son of John Comnenus and Anna Dalsena, as well as a nephew of the former Byzantine Emperor Isaac I, who was famous for also rebuilding their military power. The Comnenus name was a very distinguished Byzantine family and, like said previously, had played a very important role in making major changes in military strategies. The reign of the Comnenus family began in Constantinople in 1081. Manuel Eroticus Comnenus was the first member of the family to figure in Byzantine history. He was an able general that served the Emperor Basil II in the east. His son, Isaac I, as mentioned before, then became the emperor and was a leader of the military nobles and soldiers of Asia Minor. Then, young Alexius came along, as not the first emperor, but one of the most significant, who began the Comnenus dynasty in 1081 with the help of his mother Anna, his brother Isaac, and his ties to the Ducas family through marriage to his wife Irene. At Alexius's assumption of power in 1081, the empire had lost all of its Asian provinces, and the Turks were taking to the sea to raid the Aegean island. Byzantine Italy had fallen to the Normans, who were planning an invasion of the Balkans, which were not fully under Byzantine control quite yet. Despite this struggle, Alexius, coming into power, initiated the Comnenian Restoration. This era reversed the empire's decline due to Alexius's strategic vision and military reforms. He successfully recaptured territories from the Turks and the Normans, strengthening Byzantine control. Under his leadership, the empire experienced a resurgence in cultural and economic prosperity. Thus, Alexius's reign laid a strong foundation for Byzantine resilience in the 12th century. Within the first 10 years of his rule, Alexius rebuilt the economy and gained control over the Balkans, as well as planning to take over the Turks. But the military that the Byzantine Empire had was extremely weak and also in need of rebuilding. Prior to Alexius, the army was completely destroyed by the Normans in Greece in 1085, depriving the Byzantine army of the majority of its soldiers. In order to recover from this loss, Alexius had to find a way and some sort of strategy to increase the number of soldiers in his army. Alexius then approached the Pope at the time, Pope Urban II, which allowed the papacy to get involved and play a role in combining power with the political aspects of the empire. By creating this powerful alliance, it would allow the papacy to be known as a stronger force not to be reckoned with all across Europe. At the same time, Alexius hoped to show that Western military and spiritual might was greater than that of the weakened East, thereby helping to heal the conflict between Orthodox and Latin Christianities and realizing the centuries-old dream of a universal Christian Catholic Church, based in Rome with this Pope and papacy at the head. Furthermore, Pope Urban II yearned for a movement towards peace, aiming at suppressing the incessant violence created by rival groups of knights and their lords. Urban found himself at the helm of a massive force commissioned to reclaim Jerusalem for Christianity. Interpreting Alexius's play liberally, Urban addressed a gathering at an ecclesiastical council in Clermont in 1095, declaring his full support for the peace initiative. Because of the support of the papacy, recruiting knights was much easier than anticipated. Those who became knights abroad would be known as crusaders and fighters, allowing them to be absolved of all of their sins because they were fighting in the name of Jesus Christ and essentially for the papacy. Many of those who became crusaders were seen prior as riffraff who were destined for eternal damnation, but the opportunity of participating in these crusades allowed them to turn their lives around, giving them access to riches and redemption. The enduring legacy of the Crusades, however, has been the emergence of doctrines promoting holy war in both Christian and Islamic traditions. The ideologies of the Crusades and Jihad that continue today have wreaked havoc and created tension that has lasted to this day. Beyond the Crusades, Alexius also had a very large impact on the government and the economy of the Byzantine Empire. First of all, he pioneered a brand new way of running the empire. The frequent rebellions that had plagued the imperial politics since the death of Basil II proved that the emperor needed governors, generals, admirals, administrators, and people that surrounded him who he could trust. The solution to this issue made Alexius turn to his family and those linked to the Comnenus name and dynasty only by marriage or blood. By arranging certain marriages for his children and other family members, Alexius bound much of the aristocracy to his own clan. Alexius was so successful at intertwining the ruling dynasty with other families of the military aristocracy that although 4 more families would sit the throne of the Byzantine Empire after him, every single emperor that took the throne was Alexius's direct descendant. Alexius also introduced the hyperpyron, the new coinage which stabilized the financial situation of his empire. This coin was made from a material called electrum, which is a gold and silver alloy. It was worth about 1/3 of the old standard gold, which had suffered under the fiscal policies of the emperor previous to Alexius. The hyperpyron became the new Byzantine coin standard to which all others were measured and valued until about the 15th century. After a protracted illness, Alexius died on August 16, 1118. He was succeeded by his son, John II Comnenus. John II was groomed well for the role and proved to be an able and admirable ruler. Alexius's final illness is described as of the severest kind and of short duration, and took the form of a rushing fever attacking the head as though it were a necropolis. One of the primary sources for details on Alexius's life comes from a book called the Alexiad. The Alexiad, written by Alexius's daughter Anna Comnena, is a detailed chronicle of his rule. It provides insights into his strategic and military decisions, including significant events like mentioned before the First Crusade and battles against the Normans and the Turks. It describes the political and military history of the Byzantine Empire during the reign of her father, Alexius, making it one of the most important sources of information on the Byzantine Empire of the Middle Ages. As well as this, within the Alexiad, the First Crusade's interaction with the Byzantine Empire is documented, despite it being written nearly 50 years after the Crusade, which highlights the conflicting perceptions of the East and West in the early 12th century. Anna Comnena, the Alexiad's author, was born in 1083 as the first child of Alexius and his empress Irene. Her friends described her as lively, spirited, and stable. Because of her important position as a princess, Anna was very well educated. She was a very good student, and she studied philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, and became an expert in studies like Greek and rhetoric, which was extremely unusual for a woman in the Middle Ages. She was supposed to become the next Byzantine empress, but her brother John was born a few years after her, which made him the next successor. The Alexiad is the only Greek account of the First Crusade that has survived to this day. And yet, despite its potential bias, the Alexiad remains a valuable primary source for understanding Alexius's reign and the Byzantine Empire's history. Overall, Alexius Comnenus is a very significant figure in history that created a large amount of reform that saved the Byzantine Empire from absolute destruction and ruin. Through military and economic reform, Alexius, in collaboration with the papacy as well as his family, not only revived the empire but also strengthened it so that it could continue to thrive even beyond his time in power. And here are the links to the sources that I used for my research. Thank you so much for watching.